Well, thank you, sir.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from California, Mr. Lieu.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Let me start off by noting that the chairman of this full Judiciary Committee lawfully defied a bipartisan congressional subpoena. Now, Mr. Dunn, thank you for coming here today. Sorry for your loss, and thank you for sharing your story and your efforts on working on the fentanyl issue. Judge Salmon, where you go. I have some questions for you about fentanyl. I agree with my Republican and Democratic colleagues that we need to tackle this issue. It's your experience, isn't it, that the overwhelming majority of fentanyl seizures occur at ports of entry and not from migrants bringing them across the borders. Is that right?
That's correct. That's what we understand. That's what we know. We work so close with law enforcement, Border Patrol, ICE, and we do not get that suggestion that it's the migrants. And we talk directly to them. It's not the migrants that have that issue. It's at the port of entry by Americans, by the way, that are crossing into the United States more so than any other form that comes through our borders.
And in fact, your experience is actually what the data shows. So I have an article here from the Cato Institute, which is a libertarian think tank. The title of it is Fentanyl is Smuggled for U.S. Citizens by U.S. Citizens. And what the facts from this article show are that in 2021, U.S. citizens were 86.3% of the convicted fentanyl traffickers. In addition, over 90% of fentanyl seizures occur at legal crossing points or interior vehicle checkpoints. So if we really want to tackle the bulk of this issue, what we want to do is strengthen technology at legal points of entry, at the ports of entry. We want to give Border Patrol more resources at these ports of entry to address the fentanyl seizures. And thank you to all the Border Patrol agents that the Republicans have highlighted repeatedly for how much they've been seizing in fentanyl because they're doing their job. And I'd like to ask unanimous consent to enter this article from the Cato Institute titled, Fentanyl is Smuggled for U.S. Citizens by U.S. Citizens, Not by Asylum Seekers.
Without objection.
So Sheriff Danos, thank you for your public service.
Thank you, Congressman.
Do you know which American president said, for decades, the United States has not been in complete control of its borders?
No.
That president was George W. Bush in 2006. Are you familiar with Operation Intercept at all?
I'm not.
Okay. That was an operation put in by an American president that basically shut down the southern border for about 3 weeks. And then it was lifted because it was not sustainable. That American president was Richard Nixon. This hearing is titled Biden's Border Crisis. That is completely wrong. It is not Biden's border crisis. This has been a crisis for over half a century, from Nixon and every American president after him. They have not addressed this issue. I'm going to read you some comments from various American presidents. 80 to 90% of the heroin that comes into the U.S. today comes across our southern border. You know who said that? President Ford said that. Millions of undocumented aliens have illegally immigrated to the U.S. They have breached our nation's immigration laws, displaced many American citizens from jobs, and placed increased financial burden on many states and local governments. President Carter said that. The ongoing migration of persons to the United States in violation of our laws is a serious national problem. President Reagan said that. I was especially concerned about the growing problems of alien smuggling and international terrorists hiding behind immigrant status. President Clinton said that. I could go on and on. The only folks that can actually fix this problem is the United States Congress by passing laws. And we had a chance to do that with a bipartisan comprehensive immigration reform bill that passed the U.S. Senate on a bipartisan basis. And guess who stopped it? House Republicans. So it is simply a false narrative that this is Biden's border crisis. It is a crisis of over half a century, and the people that can stop it are we in Congress. I urge Republicans, instead of doing hearings and doing talking points, to actually work with Democrats on a comprehensive immigration bill that will, in fact, solve this problem. And with that, I yield back.
Chair recognizes